This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Last month, President Trump told the Detroit Economic Club that he would welcome Chinese car plants in the U.S. And now comes reports that Ford has been talking to at least 2 Chinese automakers to form a joint venture to make EVs in the U.S. The Financial Times reports that Ford was in talks with Xiaomi and BYD. We think the Financial Times is a pretty reputable source, but Ford and Xiaomi deny they're in talks, while BYD declined to comment. Here's our Autoline insight. While nothing may come of this, it would be sensible for Ford to explore possible options with Chinese automakers. We keep looking at that $5 billion, 5 million square foot manufacturing facility that Ford is building called Blue Oval City. Located in Tennessee, that plant is supposed to make 500,000 electric pickups a year, but right now, it looks like it could be a financial disaster. However, with a Chinese partner on board, that plant could come closer to its targets. And here's a good reason why BYD would want to cut a deal with Ford. Its sales in China took a nosedive last month, falling an alarming 30%. While analysts were expecting a drop in car sales as consumers rushed into the market at the end of the year to take advantage of subsidies that were about to expire, a 30% drop at BYD caught everyone by surprise. And that's the 5th straight month sales have fallen, and its stock went down by almost 7%. BYD wants to boost sales outside of China by 25%, and if it could cut a deal with Ford to get into the U.S. market, that would be a mega achievement. Canada wants its money back. In December, Canada's industry minister served Stellantis with a notice of default on its taxpayer-backed financial aid after the automaker canceled plans to build the Jeep Compass in Ontario. And now Canada is seeking to retrieve taxpayer-backed funds that it provided to General Motors. In 2022, the federal and Ontario governments agreed to provide $259 million Canadian dollars for investments to upgrade GM's 2 plants in Ontario. But last year, GM idled one of those factories, the Cami plant, which was building the BrightDrop electric vans, and it also just reduced its Oshawa plant from 3 shifts down to 2, resulting in 500 workers being laid off. And because of that, Canada says it's seeking to recover, quote, millions from GM.
Developing today's vehicles, issues can happen in an instant. What good is knowing your problems without the data to solve them? Meet Wireless Neovi Cloud, your secure off-the-shelf solution, empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless Neovi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless Neovi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
EV startup Slate, which is developing a low-cost electric pickup truck, plans to expand its lineup at some point in the future. The pickup, which will have a starting price in the mid-$20,000 range, is aiming to go into production by the end of the year. The pickup can also be converted into an SUV with a bolt-on kit that will cost around $5,000. While Slate is focused on bringing those models to the market, CEO Chris Barman tells Inside EVs that it aspires to launch different vehicles in the future. Slate's platform is modular and can allow for different versions, including a cargo carrier. And we think that's a smart move because it will be hard for Slate to hit its production goals with its current pickup and SUV. When the Volkswagen Group revived the Scout brand, it was originally going to be all electric. But with EV sales not growing as much as the automaker expected, Scout decided to offer extended range EVs as well, and that decision is really paying off. Scout has more than 150,000 refundable reservations, and according to CEO Scott Keogh, 85% are for the EREV. The company originally expected EREVs to account for 60% of sales, but because of their popularity, Scout will launch the EREV versions first, which are scheduled to go into production late next year. Rumors swirled recently that Jaguar was considering adding combustion engines to its new electric platform. However, the automaker came out to say that its EV-only plans haven't changed. It revealed the first of those new EVs, a four-door GT, has now begun its winter testing program. Jaguar says the model will be able to optimize its range even in the coldest temperatures thanks to a new thermal management system it calls ThermAssist, which reduces heating energy consumption by up to 40%. The new Range Rover EV shares the same tech, and they both also have an air suspension system with active twin-valve dampers. But the Jag will feature all-wheel steering and a tri-motor all-wheel drive system that makes about 1,000 horsepower instead of a dual-motor system. The automaker says the production version of the four-door GT will make its debut later this year. However, no official on-sale date has been revealed yet. The new Cayenne Electric is an important model for Porsche. We talked about how it could help turn around the brand's sales in China. Well, Porsche revealed that it's officially kicked off production of the Cayenne Electric at its plant in Bratislava. One way it says it's gaining more control over the quality, precision, and scalability of the model is by developing and building the battery modules in-house. While it doesn't make the pouch cells, Porsche does all the cell preparation, stacking, laser welding, foaming, cold plate integration, and end-of-line testing. That allowed it to do things like double-sided cooling, which can cool or heat the battery from above and below, and Porsche claims it's a world's first. The Cayenne Electric is also built alongside hybrid and ICE models, so the automaker says it can more quickly react to changes in demand. Europeans and Americans are holding on to their cars and trucks longer than ever, but there's a difference. Europeans keep their trucks, including SUVs, longer, while Americans keep their cars longer. According to the ACEA, the average car in Europe is 12.7 years old, while in the US, it's 14.5 years. Meanwhile, the average age of trucks in Europe is 14 years, while in the US, it's 11.9. And in Europe, the average age varies a lot by country. In Greece, the average car is 17.8 years old, while in Lithuania, it's only 1.8. But one thing's for sure, in both Europe and the US, the age of the total fleet gets a little bit older every year. And that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for making Autoline a part of your day.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. CSP, the composites solution partner. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And thanks to the following YouTube and Patreon members.
At CSP, we work with OEM engineers across the country on their journeys to lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly vehicles. Learn more at thecsp.com.
Making a life full of memories, one road trip at a time. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Weather Peak tires with a 70,000-mile limited warranty.